because Americans genuinely know how to enjoy things. And I didn't realize how emotionally repressed I was until I moved here to Midwest. I was in my favorite coffee shop a few weeks ago, right? And this girl gets her carrot cake latte.
So I'm an American that's lived abroad for the past 4.5 years, and I just flew to New York from being in Europe for 6 months straight. Like, I haven't come back to the US, and I literally feel like what a European would feel like experiencing America for the first time again.
They came to America expecting traffic jams, overpriced hot dogs, and a country that didn't get football. Then something completely ridiculous happened. They didn't want to leave. Now, thousands of European fans are making a request nobody saw coming. Forget waiting until 2030. Let America host the World Cup again. So what on earth happened inside those stadiums, highways, tailgate parties, and sold-out cities that completely flipped the script? Trust me, even FIFA probably wasn't expecting this plot twist.
The first one might surprise you. It's about being polite. Americans are very well-mannered, very polite. After living in places like France or Italy, like, people are not polite, and I think this goes unnoticed by a lot.
What do you think about all the Europeans coming to America and discovering America?
Please remember me when you saw that people here go to Walmart.
It is amazing how quickly confidence can turn into humility when reality refuses to cooperate with old stereotypes. Before stepping onto American soil, countless European supporters believed they already knew exactly how this World Cup would unfold.
There are 4 things that surprised me in America as an exchange student from Europe. Number 1 is tipping, and more specifically, how much people tip and also in which places they tip.
I'm a Brit living in America, and I want to tell you my favorite things about this country. So the first one is the big roads and the big trucks, and everything's just bigger and better here. In England, we have these tiny little roads, and you feel like pretty restricted.
They had spent years hearing that the United States was too commercial, too spread out, too obsessed with entertainment, and too disconnected from football culture to truly understand what the world's biggest sporting event deserved.
You guys have air conditioning everywhere.
Yep, this is America.
I love it.
This is normal here. That's completely normal, man.
Okay, now with ranch.
I am a Brit who moved to Dallas, Texas last year, and I want to talk about one of the main things I always get asked after moving here, and that is, what is the biggest difference between Texas and the UK?
Many expected impressive television broadcasts, but an atmosphere that would never compare with Europe. Instead, something unexpected happened. As the tournament drew closer and fans experienced America's football culture firsthand through test events, club competitions, packed stadiums, and massive international crowds, an unlikely conversation started spreading across social media. It was no longer about whether America could host the World Cup.
This is what it's like living in America. Everything's huge. This is your proof. Check out this car. It's taller than me. The wheels are right where my hips start. It's crazy.
Oh, they asked for a tip?
Yeah, they do that.
I ordered a coffee to go for pickup. I can buy a gun?
Yep.
We're in a grocery store.
It was about whether FIFA had made a mistake scheduling the next one somewhere else. The irony could hardly be greater. For years, many European football supporters joked that America should stick to the NFL, baseball, and basketball while leaving football to countries that truly understood it. Those same supporters are now filling comment sections with a completely different opinion. Instead of counting the days until Spain, Portugal, and Morocco take over in 2030, thousands have begun asking whether FIFA should make history and allow America to host consecutive World Cups.
Europeans are coming to America for the World Cups, and they are shocked by the most normal things ever. Free refills, grocery stores, friendly strangers, big parking lots, police officers taking selfies.
Mesdames et messieurs, we need to talk about l'Amérique. As French, we need to stop saying Vive la France and start saying Vive.
It sounds outrageous at first because the tournament has never worked that way in the modern era. Yet the more people talk about the experience America has created, the less ridiculous the idea begins to sound. Part of that transformation comes from something remarkably simple. The United States embraced exactly what it already does better than almost anyone else. It treated the World Cup like the biggest celebration on Earth and built every detail around making life easier for the people who had traveled thousands of miles to experience it.
The US, listen to the media.
We're witnessing the world healing right now, and here's why. Since the World Cup has started, we have seen so many people from across the globe come to America and absolutely love it.
That difference becomes obvious before supporters even find their seats. European football stadiums carry history that cannot be manufactured. Walking through neighborhoods where generations have followed the same club creates an emotional connection unlike anything else. However, history often arrives alongside cramped walkways, limited facilities, endless queues, and transport systems that struggle whenever attendance reaches its peak. America approached the same challenge from the opposite direction. Instead of asking supporters to adapt to old infrastructure, it designed the infrastructure around the supporters.
This is not what's happening in America, but then you go there and it is the chillest place in the world. Everybody's super friendly, and that doesn't penetrate the European.
I'm a Brit living in America, and we've just got to Colorado Springs, and one thing that's jumping out at me straight away is I don't think people in Europe realise how different each of the states are in America.
Visitors found enormous plazas leading into stadiums instead of bottlenecks. Wide entrances allowed tens of thousands of people to flow naturally without feeling as though everyone had accidentally joined the world's largest conga line. Air-conditioned concourses became welcome escapes from summer heat, while clean facilities, spacious seating, elevators, accessible entrances, and countless concession areas quietly removed frustrations that many fans had accepted as normal parts of attending football matches.
So, I know a lot of you guys will not understand this, but here's the thing. For me, one of the most touristical attractions in the United States is the Walmart. And every time I'm going somewhere and I'm seeing a Walmart, I will enter it.
The light of it almost being 4th of July and me being from Europe and seeing all the FIFA Europeans traveling to US and just being so amazed with like the culture and food and Walmart.
Perhaps the biggest surprise was realizing these stadiums were not temporary showpieces built solely for FIFA. They were already functioning every year at extraordinary capacity. NFL games, college football weekends, concerts, wrestling events, international friendlies, conventions, and countless other gatherings had already trained American cities to move crowds that would overwhelm many countries. From America's perspective, hosting another massive sporting event simply meant welcoming a different collection of jerseys.
If this girl was Eastern European, you would think she reunited with her long-lost family member. Like, immediately after she tried it, she goes to the barista and she's like, oh my gosh, this is...
Have you seen the latest World Cup trend? International visitors aren't just posting about the games, they're going viral for their reactions to everyday American life.
Already finished it, but this is the best burrito.
That realization forced many visitors to rethink assumptions they had carried for years. The World Cup did not seem like an event America had borrowed from football. Instead, football looked as though it had finally discovered a country perfectly equipped to stage an event of its size. Then there was the issue everyone expected would become America's greatest weakness: distance. Europeans love reminding Americans that they can drive across several countries before lunchtime.
My thoughts on living in the US? If you're new here, I'm Laura, a stay-at-home mom. I used to live in Europe. I've lived in Belgium, England, and the Netherlands, and now I live in the US. So, what are my thoughts on it? Honestly, I love it here.
I'm a Brit who moved to Dallas, Texas, and these are 5 things that I miss the most about the UK. I love living in Texas, but these 5 things the Brits just do.
America responds by casually pointing toward Texas, where missing the correct highway exit sometimes feels like beginning an entirely different vacation. On paper, the geography appears intimidating. Yet, after experiencing the system firsthand, many supporters discovered that America's size had quietly become one of its greatest strengths rather than an obstacle.
Oh, I told you. Bro, you sold that in the UK.
Americans,
We are in San Francisco.
Even though we were warned by a lot of people not to come here.
And I don't really understand why people were warning us and telling us not to come here, because this place...
It's really...
The country has spent generations mastering long-distance travel because it never had another option. Airports function almost like extensions of city centers. Interstate highways stretch across landscapes with astonishing efficiency. Rental car systems, hotel districts, shuttle services, ride-share networks, and event transportation all combine to create an experience where enormous distances somehow feel surprisingly manageable. Instead of remaining trapped inside one small region for the entire tournament, supporters suddenly found themselves turning football trips into unforgettable adventures.
There's so many people missing out on actually experience America and the culture for what actually is. Because people obviously see that and get scared and feel like, oh,
I shouldn't go. But it's your ancestors, your European ancestors.
And I'm going to tell you a few reasons why. I have a lot, but the main reasons are there are so many opportunities over here. I don't think you fully understand how lucky you are.
A fan could watch one match in New Jersey before flying to Texas, spending 2 days exploring local barbecue restaurants, driving through landscapes unlike anything back home, and then continuing toward another city that felt almost like visiting a completely different country despite never crossing a national border. Every destination introduces new food, different accents, changing scenery, and unique local traditions. The journey between matches stops feeling like dead time and becomes another highlight of the experience itself.
Refills, like coffee, soda, anything you want is refillable, and also the portions are huge, and it feels like everything's in abundance here. Like in England, I feel like everything's so teeny tiny.
These blue cities are different. It's different sauce out here. Coming from Europe to these cities, you read a lot online about how divided it is politically and how separated everything is politically, but I never thought it was like this.
Even supporters who originally complained about travel eventually admitted something amusing. They had worried America was too large for a World Cup, only to discover that the country's enormous geography allowed one tournament to feel like several unforgettable vacations stitched together into a single month. Of course, no discussion about America remains complete without mentioning food, because that particular cultural shock deserves its own documentary. Many European supporters walked into stadiums expecting ordinary matchday snacks, before discovering meals that looked capable of feeding an entire amateur football squad.
Is that Americans are way more hardworking. Finally, is that the world progress has depended heavily on America. Because America, people are so hardworking and they're so open-minded to progress too. So the speed of progress in America, it's much higher.
What I was first amazed and what was my impression of America back when I moved here in 2019. Wow, it's been almost 8 years that I've been here, which is so crazy. I have been cracking up at all the videos because I can 1000% relate to all.
Foot-long hot dogs, mountains of nachos, burgers stacked high enough to challenge basic engineering, giant slices of pizza, barbecue platters, fried chicken, endless soft drinks, and enough options to make deciding what to eat almost as stressful as watching penalty shootouts. Then came the phrase that confused many international visitors more than almost anything else: free refills. For Americans, it barely deserves a second thought. For plenty of Europeans, it sounded almost fictional.
What is the thing that you love the most about living in Texas now? And one of the biggest differences is the people. Like, I cannot get over how friendly everyone is here.
Our public restrooms. See, I was at this bar with a couple friends because they were hosting this FIFA World Cup event, and everything was normal at first. It was at this standard American sports.
Some supporters genuinely double-checked whether staff members had made a mistake. Others stared suspiciously at enormous drink cups, as though there must surely be hidden conditions somewhere in the fine print. The humor comes from the fact that Americans rarely notice these details because they are completely normal at home. Visitors, however, viewed them as symbols of a broader philosophy. American sporting events do not simply focus on the 90 minutes taking place on the pitch. They attempt to make every hour surrounding the match enjoyable as well.
People, all that Mikey say, how many food we have it. It's me and realize it. Why you need to love United States. Why the communists, ideally, they want to destroy this country.
So just flew in from Texas yesterday, and even things like all of the street signs, the traffic lights, the road layouts, even basically what they use to pave the roads.
Parking lots transform into barbecue festivals. Fan zones resemble open-air concerts. Families arrive hours before kickoff simply because the surrounding atmosphere has become part of the entertainment. Thousands remain long after the final whistle, continuing conversations, sharing food, buying merchandise, listening to music, and celebrating together regardless of the scoreline. Football becomes more than a match. It becomes an all-day event. That philosophy extends into customer service as well. Stadium staff seem permanently prepared to answer questions from confused tourists carrying maps in one hand and oversized sodas in the other.
Oh my god, the grocery stores, like all the people, how open Americans are. Like, I don't know how to explain this to you guys, but I literally feel like I'm breaking my US virginity all over again. Like,
I feel like for the most part, the Europeans that are visiting the US for the first time are doing a pretty good job of adapting to life here in America. But there is one exception, something that I've seen with my own two eyes, that the Europeans just can't.
Volunteers direct visitors toward entrances before anyone even asks for help. Accessibility receives remarkable attention. Families with children, elderly supporters, and fans with disabilities often discover facilities specifically designed to make their experience comfortable rather than exhausting. These features rarely appear in highlight reels because nobody posts viral clips celebrating excellent restroom placement. Yet these invisible details often determine whether visitors remember an event with affection or frustration. Perhaps that explains why hospitality keeps appearing in conversations from international supporters. Long before kickoff, many expected America to deliver flashy stadiums while lacking warmth.
Different and surprising to see that people tip everywhere, and it is kind of expected, and it is not something that you do if you really like the server or they did a really good job, but it's simply expected to tip. It really doesn't matter if you just came to a drive-thru.
Genuinely a million calories. What the hell are these gas prices? Why are American flags everywhere?
America is the best in the world.
It's really not, but...
What you say?
Instead, they repeatedly encountered volunteers offering directions, strangers recommending restaurants, locals inviting visiting supporters into tailgate parties, and cities genuinely excited to welcome football fans from every corner of the globe. It turns out, hospitality can be just as memorable as any spectacular goal. That growing appreciation has fueled an extraordinary movement online. The proposal carries enormous symbolism because 2030 marks the centenary of the FIFA World Cup. Official plans already involve matches across multiple continents to celebrate football's 100-year history. Spain, Portugal, and Morocco remain scheduled as primary hosts, while opening matches are planned in South America as tributes to the tournament's origins.
I didn't even know they made cereal this big. How is this even possible? Even y'all chips are huge.
But you guys just have deer roaming around?
Yeah, that's pretty normal over here.
But this kills me every time.
Yet many fans argue that history deserves something even bigger. They believe the Centennial World Cup should be staged where the tournament can reach its largest audience, produce its greatest spectacle, and welcome supporters with infrastructure already proven capable of handling extraordinary demand. Hotels, airports, highways, entertainment districts, broadcasting facilities, security systems, and commercial infrastructure operate at scales few countries can match simultaneously. Even FIFA knows this better than anyone.
Care. And Americans are watching this like, bro, that is just a normal Tuesday. Exactly. That is the point. For Americans, this is normal.
Steak. I feel like I've been lied to my entire life about America. Like, I'm in Florida. This beach is insane.
Back in 1994, when football occupied a much smaller place within American sports culture, the United States still produced attendance records that remained unmatched for decades. Average crowds approached 70,000 spectators per match, proving that America could fill stadiums long before soccer reached today's popularity. The Copa America demonstrated another glimpse of demand, while preparations for 2026 have only accelerated enthusiasm. In other words, the country that impressed the football world 3 decades ago has become significantly better prepared rather than standing still.
This place is incroyable. C'est incroyable. I just had Texas barbecue for the first time in my life. Poof. Better than any moment in my life. And I am married and have...
First of all, apologise in advance for my voice or lack of. I was screaming so much at the England game the other day and it's pretty much gone. Number 1 for me is Deliveroo. You guys have DoorDash and...
That does not mean supporters dislike Spain, Portugal, or Morocco. Quite the opposite. Each offers extraordinary football culture, passionate supporters, historic cities, magnificent stadiums, and unforgettable traditions. Nobody questions their love for the sport because their contributions to football history speak for themselves. Instead, many Europeans have reached an unexpected conclusion. America excels at transforming gigantic occasions into unforgettable festivals. Every concert, championship game, Super Bowl, Final Four, and international sporting event has quietly served as another rehearsal for welcoming millions of visitors from around the world. Perhaps that explains why so many supporters arrived prepared to criticize America and left recommending it instead.
America is one of the greatest countries on the planet. There is so much to do, and that the people are just wonderful. And the best thing about that is it's all the simple things, whether it's Waffle House, whether it's 7-Eleven, whether it's just big
Like the buildings, the houses, everything just looks so charming and really picturesque.
This honestly must be one of the most beautiful cities I have ever been to. Seriously, it is incredible.
Some even joke that FIFA accidentally created its own problem. By allowing millions of international fans to experience American hospitality firsthand, it may have raised expectations so dramatically that future tournaments risk feeling smaller by comparison. That is a remarkable sentence considering where this conversation began years ago. The country once dismissed as too commercial now receives praise for delivering unforgettable fan experiences. Even America's famously oversized food portions have somehow become part of football folklore. Although many visitors still insist a single stadium drink could probably hydrate an entire youth academy back home.
I really hope people don't take this for granted because America is safe, America is clean, America is friendly. Man, this is such an awesome place. God bless.
I moved to Indianapolis from Switzerland and somehow I feel poorer here than I did in Zurich. And I was wondering, who would choose to live here if they had money? Well, I guess one of them is the best-selling author.
We fell in love with Indianapolis.
Then I realized Americans have no idea how inhumane it is to live in a place that is in volcanoes.
Whether FIFA ever considers changing the 2030 hosts remains highly unlikely. The tournament has already been awarded, planning continues at full speed, and reversing such a decision would create enormous logistical and political complications. Yet something much more important has already happened. America no longer needs to convince football supporters that it belongs on the world's biggest stage. The supporters themselves have started making that argument. The greatest compliment is not delivered by the host celebrating its own success. It comes from visitors who arrived expecting disappointment and departed wondering whether the next tournament should simply come right back. Few countries can change opinions that dramatically in a single football festival. America somehow managed to change millions.